Hi, everyone. So now it's time to do our assignment for week 4, and we're going to build ourselves a plan to get ready for an exam. So this week we've reviewed information on how to prepare for exams and tips and tricks for different types of exams, and then also how to help combat test anxiety. This week we also either did a breakup with cramming letter, or we identified and reflected on a time when cramming didn't help us and how that made us feel. So what we're going to do now is make sure that we are building ourselves a plan to go into exam comfortable and ready to go so that you don't have to cram. So the first step is going to be to answer question number 1. You're going to pick a class other than FYS 1010 that actually has exams in it, and you're going to review what content is going to be required on that class's exam. So please identify the course for me and then write down what chapters are going to be on your first exam, what lectures are going to get covered, or what readings will be covered on the exam. So this is important so that you know specifically what you're going to be studying. And then the second question is you're going to be going ahead and you're going to divide up your material into manageable sections. Now, I would like you to divide it up into 4 different sections. So you could break apart chapters if need be. If maybe chapter 2 you're studying all of it, but maybe you only covered half of chapter 3, then maybe chapter 2 is going to get 2 separate days where you prepare the information, or 2 separate chunks. So maybe you cover sections 2.1 through 2.4 one day, and then 2.5 through 2.8 another day. So chapter 2 is broken up, and then chapter 3 maybe is all by itself, or maybe you're not even studying chapters. But whatever the content looks like for your exam, make 4 chunks of content for you to study, and then rate your understanding of your experience or your level of comfort with the material. So this is where it's really important to be honest with yourself. If you're not comfortable with that section of the content, make sure that you rate yourself at a true 1 or 2. If you're pretty comfortable with the content, but you know you need to review it a little bit more, rate yourself at a 3. If you're confident in the material and you know right now you could sit down and you could teach it to somebody else, you're going to rate yourself a number 4, but you're still going to review the material because it's important to make sure we still practice short, frequent reviews and retrieval practice of pulling that information out of our brain. So once you've done steps 1 and 2, identified the information that's going to be on the exam and broken it into meaningful chunks that are manageable, now we're ready to go ahead and build an actual 5-day study plan. We're going to make sure that we assign time to each of the sections or chunks of material, and we're going to prioritize the areas that you rated yourself the least comfort or the least mastery. So those that were rated at a 1 or 2 are going to come earlier in your plan. And the reason for that is because it's going to allow you to study that material more leading up to the exam. So now I'm going to actually show you what a schedule or what a plan is going to look like. So this is what a 5-day plan would look like for a student who had an exam either on Friday the 12th or Saturday the 13th. So the idea of building the 5-day study plan is that it's within a week of your exam, so that the material is prepared and retrieved freshly leading up to the exam, but not cramming the night before. So this person has chose to do a study plan that goes 5 days in a row. If you're one of the students that you have maybe Tuesday you work all day, it's okay if your study plan takes a break for a day and then picks up the next day. You just want to make sure that you practice starting to retrieve the information within a week of the exam. So on the first day, though, you're going to spend the least amount of time preparing because you're going to take your first chunk of material that you've rated yourself at a 1 or a 2, and you're going to make a study tool to use for short, frequent reviews after today. So you're going to break down the material and you're going to say how you're going to prepare it. Then on the second day, you're going to spend a little bit more time. Now you're working at about an hour and a half for this. And again, this doesn't have to be an hour and a half straight. It could be 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the afternoon, and 30 minutes in the evening, but an hour and a half total. You're going to prepare your second chunk of information on this day, where you're going to spend about an hour preparing a study tool to get yourself ready for that chunk of information. But you're actually going to go back and review the information that you prepared the day before. And then you're also going to give me a plan for how you're going to use the review. What's your plan within the short frequent review of how you're going to test your understanding of the material? Then on the third day, you're going to prepare a third section of your content, again with a plan. And these can be different. It doesn't always have to be the same thing. Maybe what worked for section 1 and 2 is not going to work for section 3, and you're going to have to prepare that a different way. That's actually pretty common. But then you're going to review both what you prepared on Monday, and then you're going to review again what you prepared on Sunday, so that you've now reviewed Sunday's material a second time leading up to the exam, or third if you want to consider practicing the material review, which I actually would. And then on the fourth day, you prepare your final chunk of information, and you review the previous 3 days' sections. And then on your fifth day of your study plan, you don't actually prepare any new information. You just review all of the previous material, and you build in plans again for how are you going to cover this material. So that way, the information that you prepared for the first time on Sunday, by the time you get ready for the exam, you've gone over it multiple times. And so you should be much more comfortable with that material leading up to the exam. So this is what a 5-day study plan looks like when you put it out. So we're going to both identify information, break it into sections, and then also build a study plan for this week's assignment. So you're going to do all 3 parts. And again, I have included a detailed rubric to break down the points for how I'm going to score the assignment. And as always, with any questions, ask as early as you can, and I am happy to help walk you through any questions you have for this assignment. Have a great week.